And we're live. No, I'm joking.
I was about to say, Josh, you're fired.
That's it. You're off.
You don't have the authority or the.
That's true.
Just the authority.
That is true. He does not wield any authority in this company.
Or the bandwidth.
Or the bandwidth. I was trying to think of something better like that. Anyway, we are playing a brand new episode of Fantasy Horse today, aren't we? Brand new episode.
Brand new
So
episode.
watch out.
Isn't every episode a brand new episode?
Well, this is an important one because I will be the host, and I won last time, so I'm just feeling good. I can't lose. I just won. I'm feeling good, guys.
That's fair.
Enough showboating. You can't win today.
Yeah. Well, I can win by really fooling you guys with my questions, so that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So don't mess up. Anyway, we're playing Fantasy Horse. You might have heard of the game before. It's very much like the basketball game, where you kind of just take turns and taking the shots, and if you miss one, you get a letter. You spell out horse, you lose. So we're playing a fantasy version of that. If you don't get it, you'll get it as the game goes along. You don't want to spell out horse, essentially. But anything else there, guys?
No.
Well, this week it is this week's a special edition of it.
Good call.
All the questions from this week's horse game are going to be based on week 1 of the 2020 season. So it's going to be a showdown between JL and I to see who paid attention the most.
Oh, it's not going to be good.
This one seems to have a higher risk of embarrassment. Like with last year or the year before, you could just kind of play it off like, oh, that was so long ago.
No one remembers that.
This was literally yesterday and the day before.
And hopefully I won't trick you too much with my questions, but we'll see how it goes.
I'm expecting some solid Josh math.
Oh yeah.
There's one or two Josh math questions, but I tried not to go too crazy, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, who's going first?
Simon.
Okay.
Wow. Bias.
It just felt right.
He flipped a coin.
All right. Yeah, I flipped the coin in my mind. All right, Simon, are you ready for the first question of Fantasy Horse today?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And like Simon already said, all of these questions are somewhat week 1 inspired. So,
somewhat
question
inspired. What does that mean?
Well, listen, it's going to involve week 1 100%. Maybe it involves last season a little bit. I think you'll see something similar with the first few questions, but we'll get into it.
All right.
So, question 1, Simon. Josh Jacobs, he had a fantastic week 1. Would you agree?
He did.
Yeah, he scored more fantasy points than any other running back in week 1 with 35.9 PPR fantasy points. That's pretty good. My question for you is, did Josh Jacobs ever score more than 35.9 PPR fantasy points last season? That easy. Did he ever score more than 35.9 PPR fantasy points in the 2019 season? Now you can pass it to JL.
Yeah, I think I know, but I'm gonna pass this over to JL and not give anything away. I was about to think out loud a little bit. JL, let's throw this one to you.
All right,
JL.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that last season, Josh Jacobs did score more than 30. How much was it? 35.
0.9.
35.9.
35.9. Yes, he did.
So you're saying there's a week where he did score more than that much in the
Yes.
2019 season.
Not a doubt in my mind.
I know he went on a tear
Wow,
last year for like
confident.
5 weeks.
JL is confident.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're locking it in, JL?
Locked in.
All right. So in 2019, Joshua Jacobs' highest scoring game was 29.3 fantasy points against the Bears in week 5. So unfortunately, not unfortunately, but this was Josh Jacobs' highest scoring fantasy game.
Wow. Well, I'm used to losing, so this is fine.
Well, 3 touchdowns for Josh Jacobs definitely helped him there. But unfortunately for JL, he now has an H.
It's fine. I'll live with it. Let's go.
All right. Well, you got an H now. So Simon, you got the early lead. All right. So we're moving on to the second question. This one is for JL. Now, Calvin Ridley, he also had a great week one. He scored the second most fantasy points out of all wide receivers with 33.9.
Mhm.
Now, my question, exactly like the last question, did Calvin Ridley ever score more than 33.9 PPR fantasy points during the 2019 season?
Oh man.
Same question, just for Calvin Ridley instead of Josh Jacobs.
I feel
33.9.
Are you playing us? Are you like, would you do two of the
Ooh,
same?
would I?
Let's see if Simon can figure this out.
All right, Simon.
I feel very good about this one because I'm pretty confident I played against Calvin Ridley the week that he had 3 touchdowns and like 150 yards. It was a bonkers game. I'm gonna say he definitely scored more than that in a game last season.
All right. So you were saying Calvin Ridley did have a week with more than 33.9 PPR points last season. Are you locking that in, Simon?
I'm locking that in.
All right, here we go. Well, Calvin Ridley's highest scoring game last season was in week 11 against the Panthers, where he scored 28.3 fantasy points. Unfortunately, you are incorrect.
Ooh,
And you might be actually,
How
I
did you
think,
not know that, dummy?
I think there was I think when I looked this up, I almost made it his whole career instead of just last season. I think there was a game, his rookie season, where he scored more.
You're
if
right.
I remember correctly.
You're right. And the person
So.
I played had no business starting him.
Mm-hmm.
Literally had no reason to throw him in the lineup.
So I was thinking about doing his entire career for that question, and you would have been correct in that if that were the question, but it wasn't. So you're an idiot. So far we have 2 incorrect answers. I fooled you guys. So the next question, it's a similar one, but a little bit different this time. Okay. Nyheim Hines. Look, we're just talking about guys that scored a lot of points here, aren't we? He had one of the best games of his career in week 1. He scored 27.3 PPR fantasy points. Most of his points came from a rushing touchdown and 8 catches. Okay. My question for you guys, and this one's for Simon, did Nyheim Hines ever have at least 8 catches last year?
8 catches.
Did he ever have 8 catches last year?
You know, I was no, I'm playing.
Okay.
I was beating the Nyheim Hines drum all off season because of his pass catching ability, especially with Phillip Rivers coming in. I don't want to say the Austin Eckler role. I wasn't that high on him, but he displayed enough last year in the pass catching that I was confident in the offseason. I can't pinpoint a game where it was more than that, but I have to believe he did have at least one game last season with more than 8 catches. So I'm locking in yes.
Simon's locking it in. He is saying that Nyheim Hines had a game last season with at least 8 catches. Just needed one. Well, Nyheim Hines' most catches came last year against the Raiders, where he actually had only 6 pass receptions. I am sorry. I am screwing you guys over. If we looked, however, he did have 2 9-catch games his rookie season. So I'm really screwing you guys over here. I am sorry. He did have 2 9-catch games his rookie season, but I think I'm more saying that because, he's with Phillip Rivers this season. He was with Andrew Luck 2 seasons ago. I think this could be a very good season for Nyheim Hines this year.
Man, we are doing awful today. No one has gotten a question right so far.
Well, I kind of feel like I did fool you guys a little bit where I made all
Don't
these
give
notes
yourself
so
credit.
far.
We're stupid. You're not smart. Next question.
Okay. How about we're all just stupid? We're all just stupid. Anyway, 4th question, JL. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So where the heck did Malcolm Brown come from, right? Where did he come from? I don't know. I think a lot of people assumed that he'd be splitting carries with Cam Akers, but I don't think many people saw him scoring 26 PPR fantasy points. Well, the Rams had a pretty good running back last year in Todd Gurley. You might see a trend here with these questions so far, but my question for you guys is, in a PPR league, did Todd Gurley ever score 26 fantasy points last year? Did he ever do it? Come on, JL, it's that easy.
26
Just-
fantasy points.
Just so you guys know, the questions change a little bit after this one.
Okay.
The game might be over before we get to a different type of
Yeah.
question.
Hey, who knows? Who knows?
Is it possible to get Orse all in one wrong answer? You said 26
So,
fantasy points?
Did he have a game with at least 26 fantasy points last year in PPR? Todd Gurley.
PPR 26 fantasy points last year. I think I'm gonna take this one.
Okay.
That is mean. Yes. I'm gonna go with yes.
Okay. So are you locking that in?
I'm locking that in.
Okay. So JL is saying he's taking this question and he's saying that Todd Gurley had at least one game last year with at least 26 PPR fantasy points. And guess what, guys? His highest scoring game last season was week 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm sorry for doing this, but he had exactly 26 fantasy points. So you are correct, JL. You're correct, though. You're correct. You're correct. My question was, did he have at least 26 fantasy points last year? And that is correct. He had exactly the same score.
Now we're cooking. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just happy someone got the question right. All right. So we're going into a little bit different style of question here.
Let's give a score update. We got to go in across the bottom, but JL just has an H after these 4
And
questions.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm excited to ask these questions.
I like
you know,
game show host voice you got going on.
So JL is currently in the lead. He only has an H, and Simon sucks. So he's a, however you want to pronounce it, a HOR.
I like that. I like Tim McDaniel's comment. We're just going through his team, all of his players.
Well, Tim, I just went to your dynasty team and I was like, he's got some good players. You know,
Had some good players.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So Simon, are you ready for the next question?
I'm ready.
All right. So this one's a little bit more straightforward.
Okay.
In a PPR league, who scored more fantasy points in week 1? Was it Marquise Hollywood Brown or TJ Hawkinson? In a PPR league, who scored more fantasy points in week 1? Marquise Hollywood Brown or TJ Hawkinson? You can pass or play, Simon.
I'm going to play.
He's going to play. He's going to play, boys. All right, Simon. Who scored more fantasy points in week 1?
I'm going to pass. I changed my mind. I was thinking through the Browns-Ravens game, and I was like, you know what? I actually know how Marquise Hollywood Brown did, but I don't know how that stacks up.
Yeah. So, JL, it's now on you. Who scored more fantasy points in week 1 in a PPR league?
Here, give him a second to Google it.
Or TJ Hawkinson. You now had a second to Google it. What's your answer?
You think I can type that fast? I think I'm going to go with – I don't think Josh would pick a question where the answer is not Hollywood Brown, so I'm going to go ahead with Hollywood Brown.
Or was I trying to fool you?
I don't think you were smart enough to do that.
If that's the right answer, I'm going to be upset.
I would be very happy. All right, Josh, tell us.
Okay, so you're locking in saying Hollywood Brown scored more PPR points than TJ Hawkinson in week 1. Perfect. So the person that actually scored more fantasy, Hollywood Brown, he scored 15.1 PPR fantasy points. TJ Hawkinson scored 16.6 fantasy points.
Ooh.
JL does not know how to read Josh. He is incorrect. Hollywood Brown was not the right answer. Unfortunately, TJ Hawkinson was. I'm sorry that
I should have known after yesterday. After you just destroyed me yesterday, you would.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You know, I was like, they're gonna assume this was Hollywood Brown because I was actually okay. Anyway, score update, guys. JL is now a hoe. Simon's a whore. Let's keep going. All right. So Simon just passed that question. JL, this one's for you. Question number 6. In a half PPR league, okay?
Yep.
Who scored more fantasy points in week 1? Was it Robbie Anderson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a half PPR fantasy league? Half PPR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire
It's
Or Robbie Anderson.
I'm gonna take this one,
Mhm,
and I'm gonna
mhm.
say Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
You're saying Clyde Edwards-Helaire scored more points than Robbie Anderson at half PPR.
Yeah,
Locking it in?
locking it in. Let's go.
All right. Well, Robbie Anderson scored 22.5 fantasy points at half PPR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire scored 19.8.
My God.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you are incorrect, JL.
Josh with these like razor thin margins every time.
That's not that close. 22.5 and 19.8.
3 points. Less than.
Jail, I just want you to know if you would have passed that one to me, I would have gotten it.
That's fine. Easy.
I
to
think
say.
I bet you the half point PPR messed with you, didn't it? Anyway,
A little bit.
did that just give JL make him a whore as well? Oh, he is. You freaking yeah, you guys, both HOR. It's a
Making
close
a
game,
comeback.
boys. It's a close game, boys. So this next question is for Simon, I believe.
I'm ready.
I call this one the Battle of the Davids. Okay. Who had more rushing yards in week 1? David Johnson or David Montgomery?
Yeesh.
David
Every question is a
Johnson
gotcha. Every
or
question Josh
David
comes up with is a gotcha.
Montgomery.
Okay, so I feel like
Hmm.
in my head immediately went to David Johnson, but that's because I feel like he had one great run in the first quarter of that game, and then it was like, where the hell did David Johnson go? So
Are you taking it?
I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna go David Montgomery.
You're going to go David Montgomery?
Yes,
Are you locking in David Montgomery more rushing yards than David Johnson?
I'm locking it in.
Well, David Montgomery had 64 rushing yards in week 1. David Johnson had 77.
Damn.
Shame,
Unfortunately,
shame,
you
shame,
guys are
shame.
trying to read me too much. Your heart told you
I know.
David Johnson was the right answer. Your heart told you, but Jen JL is over here like every question Josh asks is trying to be a fool. You know? Yeah.
Gotta
Maybe
play the
not
game.
everyone. So,
All right,
Simon,
final
you
question.
are now one question away from being a loser. All right. JL,
Let's do it.
I like to call this one the battle of the. I just made this up in my head. Because I
The battle
realized
of
I,
the, I just made
the-
this up in my head.
the 3-letter abbreviation.
That's a great
I
name.
I
Rob.
literally just made it up. Who had more total yards in week 1, JL? Total yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire again, or Christian McCaffrey?
Oh my God.
Am I trying to fool you? You'll never know.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Christian McCaffrey.
And I feel like I'm gonna put a disclaimer on this one.
Don't put a disclaimer on it. Don't give him an advantage.
Give
What
me
are you
this-
doing?
What's the disclaimer?
Don't.
It's within 5 yards.
Oh my God. Of course it is.
Yeah, this is a Josh question.
I'm gonna pass this to Simon.
Simon,
Okay.
it was passed to you.
The tiebreaker for me here is going to be that I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't have a single reception in that game. And I know McCaffrey's reception totals were a little bit low. I forget exactly what it was, but he caught the ball significantly less than he did last year. But I think it's going to be enough to push him over CEH. Because you said total yards, right?
I said total yards.
So I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to say this is the first one that's not a gotcha. Christian McCaffrey's little bit of passing work is what's going to push him over the edge.
So you're locking in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Who had more total yards in week 1, Clyde Edwards-Helaire or CEH or CMC? CEH, CMC. You know what I'm saying?
Now I get your-
3-letter abbreviation. I didn't do it. I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 138 rushing yards, which was also his total yards. Because, like you said, Simon, he did not have any receptions. Christian McCaffrey
Tim McDaniels thinks I've been bamboozled.
had 96 rushing yards and 38 receiving yards, giving him
boy.
134, which is
Bamboozled.
4 yards less. You got bamboozled, Simon. I'm sorry.
Josh
feel
is
bad.
the worst
I
host.
feel bad.
He's
I
the
feel
worst.
bad. I feel bad. Look, listen, guys. I think look, the audience has to understand.
Yeah.
These are tough questions. You know, they're not meant to just be known like that. You know,
Not all of us can win.
not all. I mean, JL's just a lot smarter than Simon too, obviously.
That's the only conclusion that we can come to.
Oh
Simon is
gosh.
the worst.
Hey, so
JL wins. Whatever. You know what, Josh? Oh, we got a bonus question in the chat, JL. This is for everything. Bonus question. Who had more rushing yards, Josh Allen or Dalvin Cook?
I know the answer.
I'm going to go Josh Allen. Josh Allen was
Am I allowed to participate in this one?
yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm kind of cheating if I do because I've been looking at all these stats,
Dude.
coming out with this question. And I had a good question.
This is really high stakes. You
involving
better
Josh
not
Allen
cheat.
already.
You better not cheat.
I know who answered. I know. I literally am 99% sure I know the answer.
It's Josh
And
Allen.
it's Josh Allen, right?
It's Josh Allen. I think
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook had exactly 50 yards. Dalvin Cook had exactly 50 yards, if I remember when I was looking it up. I think.
What's the answer? Tim
Come on, Tim.
McDaniel, come on. What are you doing?
It is. Okay, yeah, it is. Hold on. Let me. Okay, so I'm not worried about that. Do you guys want to play like a quick game of pig or something?
Pig.
You know, it's have you ever played that instead of horse? It's pig.
Sure.
I
Yeah, you
play-
have enough. You have enough
It's
questions.
like when
for,
you want to.
you have enough questions for a quick round of pig.
I have enough questions for pig.
Okay.
Not enough for horse.
Okay,
Um,
let's do a quick round of pig.
Okay, so guys, audience, just so you know, pig and horse are the same thing. Instead of spelling horse, we're gonna spell
let
pig.
The name throw you off.
All right, boys. So who's gonna start with this one?
I guess me, because Simon
yeah.
went first last time. I don't know if it's better to
Start
go
with
first or
Joe.
second.
Me either, honestly. I really don't. So, JL,
Yep,
are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
In a 4-point per touchdown passing touchdown league. Okay, so 4 points per passing touchdown. Who scored more fantasy points in week 1? Straightforward. Drew Brees or Joe Burrow? Straightforward.
Drew Brees or Joe Burrow, 4-point passing
Per passing touchdown. Mm-hmm.
I think that it was. Joe Burrow.
Also a PPR league.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Does not matter.
Got him.
I'm
glad, but
pretty sure it was Joe Burrow. I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow. I'm gonna take it. Obviously.
you're gonna take it,
Yeah,
and
it's
you're gonna
locked
say
in.
Joe Burrow.
And it's locked in. Yeah.
Okay. So who scored more fantasy points? Drew Brees or Joe Burrow in a 4-point passing league? Drew Brees scored 14.4 fantasy points. Not a lot for Brees. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry.
Nice. I love how you leaned into the mic to burp.
I'll do it every time. Don't you worry, boys. Joe Burrow
They're all
scored
here for, isn't it?
16.32. You are correct, JL. Good job.
Man, giving him a layup.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I didn't give it to him. I didn't give it to
Like
him.
that
I didn't give
last
it to
time
him.
Simon and I faced off in this game, and
You're talking about Jarvis Landry versus Odell Beckham. You'll never live let that one live down, huh?
Joe Burrow's like Dale's favorite player of all time, so he knows exactly what happened.
I hate him so much for beating Clemson, but
All right, Simon, you are up.
I'm a P.
Mm-hmm. All right, Simon, this next one's for you. So, Dallas Goedert had a very good game in week 1, didn't he? He did. In a PPR league, he actually scored the most fantasy points for a tight end this week. You know that? Now, my question for you, Simon, is was he still the number 1 scoring tight end in a standard league?
I'll kill you if you make that noise one more time. PPR league. I'm trying to go through the tight ends that had big games without a lot of receptions.
Don't take too long. It's a time limit.
I'm gonna say no. He was not.
You're locking it in. You're taking the question and saying
I'm
no.
taking the question. I'm locking it in.
First,
So-
gotcha.
And I'm gonna say Noah Fant was.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm curious where he finished. 'Cause I haven't looked.
So I've got some answers for you guys. So the question basically was Dallas Goedert the number one scoring tight end in a standard non-PPR league? And the answer is no, he was not the number one scoring tight end in a standard league. It was actually Mark Andrews. Andrews.
Duh.
Noah Fant was number 3 in both a standard and a PPR league. Actually,
I just knew Noah Fant showed up last night, but I think I tried to block that Ravens Browns game out of my memory. One, because it was humiliating. It was humiliating to watch, and two, it was humiliating how wrong I was on Mark Andrews this offseason.
Wow.
I watched it and I was like, oh god, funny? It's like this is the most wrong I've ever been about anything. He's unreal.
I think I could probably say the opposite of statements.
Well, congratulations.
Humiliating as a Ravens fan, and I love Mark Andrews. So, okay. Well, I digress. Mark Andrews was the highest scoring person in a non-PPR league. In week 1, he actually had 17.8 points compared to Goddard's 16.1.
Okay.
We got some PP in the house.
So, JL, you're up for this next question, and we're going to stick with Dallas Goedert for this one.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, he was the highest scoring PPR tight end this week with 24.1 fantasy points in a PPR league. I didn't mention the amount, but his fellow teammate Zach Ertz, he had a fine game with 10.8 fantasy points. My question for you guys, or JL, is...
Or Julia Luke.
Luke.
That reminds me, now that he's here, I'm legally required to shout out Carrington here for allowing us to have this live stream by gracefully letting us move our meeting. So claps for Carrington.
Thank you, Carrington.
Carrington Walter Dennis.
Thank you. You are a beautiful, wonderful person. I have no idea who you are, but I love you.
Tune in next time for his home address, social security number, and credit card details.
And cell phone number. We'll just throw that in there, Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, we're sticking with Dallas Goedert, guys. We're sticking with him. He had 24.1 PPR points. Zach Ertz, he had a good game, too. My question is, though, in 2019, did Zach Ertz ever have a game with over Dallas Goedert's amount of 24.1 fantasy points in a PPR league? In 2019, did he ever outscore Dallas Goedert's amount of 24.1 in a PPR league?
I feel like I have a really bad gauge of how Zach Ertz did last year on a game-to-game basis, so I'm going to pass this to Simon.
Okay. JL is passing the question to Simon. Right now, the score's tied P to P. By the way, we're playing.
JL and I are P to P. And I am going to answer this question correctly. My thinking, I don't know for sure, but my thinking is last year, literally every single receiving option for the Eagles went down, leaving Zach Ertz there to just soak everything up. He had to have had a week bigger than that last year. I'm going to say yes.
You are locking in yes? He did have a week with more than 24.1 fantasy points last season.
I'm locking that in.
Okay, Simon's locking it in. And the answer is he actually had 3 such games with over 24.1 fantasy points last season.
So am I wrong? Did you ask
you are correct.
specific? Oh, I was about to be so mad at you.
One game.
Yeah,
you are correct.
Okay.
No. You are correct. He did, and he actually had 3 such games. Sorry.
Okay, I thought
just
you were about to
throw
pull
one in there.
Exactly one.
Look, I wasn't trying to fool you. Not always trying to fool you.
For each game. So
but who knows? We got some other questions. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not.
Okay.
I just questions, guys.
My turn.
Okay. So Simon, you're up. This one, pretty straightforward. Who had more rushing yards in week 1? Sony Michel or Lamar Jackson?
Okay, so I know Lamar Jackson had a pretty low rushing game by his standards. It was, I feel like I just talked. I feel like Jalen and I literally said this number out loud on the phone this morning.
I won't answer.
I want to say it was like in the 40s, but that may be Joe Burrow's rushing. I know Joe Burrow had like 46 rushing yards. We said both of them. Last one wasn't a gotcha. This one is. It's Sony Michel.
You're saying Sony Michel had more rushing yards than Lamar Jackson?
Had more rushing yards than Lamar Jackson.
Okay. So you are locking that in.
So wrong. There's no way.
So Lamar Jackson had 45 rushing yards.
Okay. See, I was right there on the money.
And I think you're right about Joe Burrow. I think he had 46,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
We talked about
Sony Michel, on the other hand, had Sony Michel had 37 rushing yards.
Boo!
Sorry about
Double
that. Sorry about
bamboozled.
that.
I thought you were trying to bamboozle me with the name Lamar Jackson, but I knew he had low rushing yards. But you double bamboozled me with Sony Michel having even
Who
lower.
had
I started
Even
laying that
lower.
trap this morning. I'm like, man, Lamar Jackson had really low rushing yards this morning.
So,
God.
wow, we have Matt, this is a close game, guys. We have
Pie to
multiple
pie.
PIs.
3.1415926535897.
Stop.
Answer by two and then recite it.
We will not have any actual math, only Josh math today.
You're right.
All right.
So this is for the win, and it's
This is for the win.
It's JL's question.
And by the way, I have 2 questions left. Yeah,
Let's
this one's better.
Just pick one.
Okay. So
We're asking them both at the same time.
this one's for JL, right? So how about another Lamar Jackson question, guys?
Let's do it. I love Lamar.
I just told
Then why
you
don't
that
you marry
Lamar
him?
Jackson
Never answered.
had.
Never
Okay,
asked.
this is actually good. This is still relevant. I just told you that Lamar Jackson had 45 rushing yards in
Okay.
week 1.
We were
Does
there.
that put him in the top 4 top 4 rushing quarterbacks this week?
Top 4 rushing quarterbacks this week.
So you look at the top 4 with the most rushing yards. Was he one of those top 4?
Well, I know Cam Newton had a pretty big game. Who else? We know Joe Burrow was above him, right, with 46 yards. Was there anyone else?
I just realized I was counting out loud on this. Or I was holding. JL, were you looking at my picture?
No.
Yeah, I was like holding up fingers trying to figure out.
He was
exactly
like
how many.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We
it
talked
was-
about Josh Allen having a pretty big week.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
that probably doesn't count.
What do you mean it doesn't count?
I mean, probably not for this question.
Like his stats don't apply here? Different number of yards.
I think you should. I think you should pass it to me.
Was he? You said top 4, right?
Was he in the top 4 quarterbacks rushing
Rushing.
yards wise?
Cam Newton, Joe Burrow. I'm gonna say no because I think Kyler also did pretty well rushing wise. I'm gonna say no, he was not. And Simon looks like that was his answer. So I think I'm on the money here. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in.
You gonna lock it in?
Yep.
So you do not think Lamar Jackson was in the top 4 quarterbacks rushing yards wise?
Nope. I'm gonna best you on this last one, Josh.
Yeah, he's right.
Okay. Well, number 1 was Kyler Murray with 91 rushing yards. Number 2 was Cam Newton with 75.
Mhm.
Number 3 was Josh Allen with 57.
Mhm.
And number 4 was Joe Burrow with 46.
Lock.
Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
at 45. He was number 5. I'm sorry, Simon.
Was he? He was number 5. You said. Oh,
Yes, he was.
This
Yeah.
is baloney.
right behind Joe Burrow. That makes sense.
Yes, he
This
was.
is-
I'm sorry.
JL won because he got to go first. He got the layup question handed to him.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be a sore loser.
So yeah. I mean,
Listen,
you know,
after what happened yesterday, you
That's
can
true.
Be as
That's
sore
true.
a loser as you want.
JL needed some redemption after yesterday.
5-0.
Let's be honest. Hey, those were both great games. Simon, you lost.
You're a horse
but
pop.
you were close in both of them. You know, you look good doing it. You know, I was impressed.
I don't need your consolation.
Your words mean nothing. Josh.
Every
They're meaningless.
nice thing you say to me is just
a-
fuel for my fire to beat you tomorrow.
Fuel for his fire.
I don't think I'm ever going to lose again.
You're just
guys.
giving me bulletin board material.
I really don't think I'm ever going to lose again. I feel pretty confident about this. No, that was a lot of fun, guys. I'm glad we got to try a game of horse, a game of pig. You're both Simon, so
Yeah, well, jail doesn't get to be anything. How does that feel?
What animal are we playing next time?
he gets to be the winner. Actually,
Ooh.
That's not an animal, though. No one goes to the zoo to see a winner.
When I'm there, they do.
Who's going to the zoo to see you? That's
My friend, my mom, friends.
Okay, I gotta get out of here.
Tim
You know
McDaniel's.
what?
Wait, we got one final question. We'll
Wait.
take Tim McDaniel's final question and then we'll hop off. You got to
Get
hurry,
quick,
though.
Tim.
It's great because Goddard's the main reason JL lost
That's
my
a good
wife.
question, actually.
Where is Allen Robinson going? Oh, because he deleted all the
Well,
Bears stuff from his
yeah,
Twitter.
so- I mean, unless something happened in the last 30 minutes, I doubt he's going anywhere. I mean,
Well,
like,
did you see the news
nothing was
this morning?
announced, right?
Did you see the news this morning, Josh?
Yeah, he like deleted all the stuff off his Twitter and stuff, but
But that's not.
Let's all pick a team. Let's pick a team. If one of us is right, the other two have to shave off their eyebrows.
I was gonna say do a water bet, but
I'm not
Okay.
shaving off my eyebrows
Okay,
right now. But
water
we'll watch if two of
We'll
us.
do-
have
I'm willing to do an
Wait,
eyebrow bet, but maybe not right this second. Okay.
Okay. Pick a team where you think he's going to go, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to say the Raiders.
Why the Raiders?
Yeah.
Even more
Yeah.
weapons for Derek Carr.
Weapons.
How about the? I could see I could see the Patriots.
They're not going
I
to pay
could.
him.
Yeah, you're right.
Just pick a
I could
team.
see-
Jets.
okay. I'm gonna lock in the Dolphins.
Okay. Dolphins, Jets, Raiders.
Hey. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
When the news
Take it
breaks,
to the bank, Tim McDaniels.
Yeah. we'll say on Twitter as soon as that news breaks, or never
Yeah.
if he just stays in Chicago. We'll probably.
And I will say this: it's smart that we all chose AFC teams because teams typically don't love like trading players in conference. I mean, they'll do NFC, but Anyway, I digress.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning into another round of the Fantasy Game Show. We will be back tomorrow again at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. Tune in and watch me take Josh down tomorrow. We are out.
I'm unstoppable trading makes fantasy fun.